And if they've read a little bit into the fourth way literature, they have some idea of this idea of Gurdjieff reading to groups and then making changes based on his observation of responses. But nevertheless, I think the richness of his process is something that you put a lot of attention on in a way that I think is very useful for readers.
Yeah, I think if people understood the effort that he had put in, if you actually did some kind of attempt analysis of his life as to what did Gurdjieff spend his time doing, I think that, despite the fact that he created over 300 movements, all of which are expertly choreographed dances that are very, very difficult, and he did the music for them, he spent a much greater amount of time on the books. And that gives you some idea of what we're dealing with here. It's, the fact that they're hard, that's one thing, but the thing is they're objective. And that means that if you head in the right direction and you put in the right amount of effort, you'll get a result.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, what I appreciate about your project and your books is that it's kind of a user's guide for how to approach and how to start to work through this book in a more disciplined way.
There is one thing about the Tales, is it's a complete handbook of the work. Pretty much everything that Gurdjieff taught is in there. There are things in there that are just absolutely surprising when you realize it, and very, very hard to discern until you actually turn the right corner. There's a full description of the body in there and how it works. Mm-hmm. It's just not obvious that it's there. And there's another thing. Now, it's difficult for me to explain this, simply because I'm explaining something that maybe other people have never experienced in this kind of context. It's the intellect, almost like in the way that the intellect bangs its head against a Zen koan. The intellect, in one way or another, is trying to grasp an aspect of the book. And there's a certain kind of activity which could be called pondering, which is necessary. And you just walk around and keep on thinking about an aspect of the book. And if you get close to an intellectual expression of the meaning, I think this is what happens. I think you sound a note. And that note resonates in the higher emotional center. It creates a harmonic in the higher emotional center, and the higher emotional center comes down and tells you. And that's what I would call revelation, and that's the process that happens with me when I'm in one way or another studying the book, or even just pondering various aspects of it. In other words, I know that certain passages or certain sentences or something, I know what they mean, because I was told by something higher. It was something higher in me. It happened by revelation. I didn't work it out, but if I hadn't done what I'd done, it would never have come.